Have you ever wondered why some people seem to be naturally unstoppable, while others, no matter how hard they try, just keep skating in the same place? What if I told you that the mistake lies precisely in the way most people try to achieve success? You may be doing everything with the best of intention, working hard, trying to motivate yourself every day, but still, you don't get anywhere. That's not your fault. The truth is that most of the personal development strategies you find out there are teaching you to do before you actually do it. And that's exactly where the problem lies. In the world of personal growth and self-improvement, the most common mistake is to try to apply techniques, habits, and routines without first building the mindset needed to sustain long-term success. People want extraordinary results, but they continue to operate with limiting thoughts, negative beliefs, and poorly defined goals. They fail to realize that before they can achieve anything in the external world, they must win the battle within their own mind. Napoleon Hill, the greatest name in history when it comes to success and personal fulfillment, once said, "What the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." This means that the strength that makes you unstoppable does not come from outside. It is born within you. But be careful. Believing alone is not enough. You need to align every thought, decision, and action with the most powerful version of yourself. Only then will you unlock your true potential and walk towards the life you truly desire. If you've come this far, it's because something inside you is crying out for change. You feel like you have more to offer, that there's a greater force within you that hasn't been activated yet. And you're right, there is indeed a hidden power within you, ready to be awakened. But this power won't be activated with catchphrases or shallow motivation. What you need is a plan, a clear strategy based on proven principles, like those of Napoleon Hill. And most importantly, you need to stop acting like the majority, because the majority is doing it wrong. What we're going to explore together in this video is not more of the same. You're not here to hear generic advice. You're here because you want real transformation. You want to break cycles, overcome distraction, overcome the fear of criticism, rejection, and failure. And more than that, you want to build an unshakable growth mindset that allows you to move forward with courage, even on difficult days, because you know, or are beginning to discover, that being unstoppable isn't about brute strength. It's about clarity, discipline, and purpose. From now on, get ready to see success from a new perspective. We're going to dismantle the beliefs that limit you, understand why most people fail when trying to grow, and, most importantly, we're going to learn how to reverse this with intelligence, focus, and a mindset that turns you into someone unstoppable. Because that's what you deserve, and that's what you're going to discover now. Now that you've started to see what's really stopping you from being unstoppable, I want to invite you to take the next step with us. You're not alone here. There's an entire community made up of people like you who believe in the power of personal growth, who are in search of constant evolution, mental clarity, real strategies to transform their lives and achieve concrete results. And if you're here, it's because you're part of it. Leave your signal in the comment. Write a keyword or short phrase below that represents this new commitment to your success. It could be something like "discipline is freedom," or "unshakable mindset," or even just "conscious leadership." These words are not just loose phrases, they are declarations. Declarations from someone who is ready to stop living on autopilot and start building a new story with purpose and direction. And I'm reading all the comments, every single one. In fact, I'm going to leave my little heart in each message, because that's how we show, together, that we're on this journey seriously and with total focus. If this content touched you in any way, if it sparked an idea, a reflection, a desire to change, like the video, this will help this content reach more people who need to hear it today. And of course, subscribe to the channel. Here, each video is another step on your journey towards personal and financial success. Your transformation begins with small choices, and this could be the most powerful one you make today. Let's build this growth mindset together. So comment now and mark the beginning of your turnaround. Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right, but still aren't getting results? Like you're stuck in a cycle of constant effort without the rewards you're looking for? Sometimes it feels like other people are moving forward with ease, while you're carrying an invisible weight on your shoulder. This feeling of silent frustration is more common than you might think, but there's a deeper reason behind it, and it has nothing to do with your ability, intelligence, or worthiness. The truth is that most people are trying to succeed with the wrong mindset, and that's what's holding you back from becoming truly unstoppable. You don't need more effort. You need more clarity. You need to understand that success is not a magic formula, but a direct consequence of the mindset you cultivate every day. Napoleon Hill, when studying the world's greatest achiever, came to an undeniable conclusion. Success begins and ends in the mind. Before you can build an empire, you need to build a conviction. Before you can earn the respect of others, you need to gain your own consciousness. It all starts with what you believe about yourself, and that's where transformation begins. If you identify with, then this conversation is for you. Yes, for you who are there right now, searching for answers, wanting more from life, trying to find a path that really works. Maybe you have already tried 1,000 strategies, read books, followed advice, made plans, but even so, you still feel like something is missing. And this something is the mental adjustment that aligns your being with your goal. You can call it reprogramming, growth mindset, self-knowledge. The name doesn't really matter. What matters is the result it produces in those who have the courage to look inside and adjust what is misaligned. The world has taught you that to win, you need to be constantly moving. But Hill shows you that before you take any step, you need to think correctly. You need to believe in the possibility before you see it. You need to feel success before you touch it. This is not an illusion. This is strategy. It is the basis of true self-confidence. It is the foundation of your new lifestyle, where what guides you is not circumstances, but a clear vision of who you are becoming. It's no longer about chasing things. It's about becoming the person who attracts everything you desire. Success is not a race. It's an internal construction, and every thought you have either brings you closer to it or takes you further away from it. So stop and observe. How is your mind today? Is it a friend or an enemy of your dream? Have you been nurturing thoughts of growth, overcoming, and discipline? Or have you been holding on to fear, doubt, and comparison? While many continue to wait for perfect opportunity, you will start to create your own opportunity. You will move from being a victim to being a protagonist. Because what separates you from the life you want is not what you have or don't have, it's who you believe you are. Change begins when you stop waiting for permission and start acting with purpose. And that brings us to a key point: your purpose. Have you ever thought deeply about why you want to achieve success so badly? Is it to prove something to others, or to finally live freely? Is it to achieve more, or to feel whole? Understanding your why is what will sustain you when difficulties arise, because they will arise, but with the right mindset, they won't stop you. On the contrary, they will shape you. You have a mission, and that mission starts with self-control. Self-discipline is not a punishment. It is an act of self-love. It is you telling yourself that your goals matter, that your transformation is a priority, that your future is worth more than the comfort of the present. And when you embody this truth, you begin to act differently. You stop accepting emotional crumbs. You stop trading your dreams for fleeting distractions. You stop comparing yourself to others. And you begin to build, step by step, a life of purpose and fulfillment. But to do this, you need to surround yourself with the right words. Words have power. They program the mind, shape emotion, and create reality. That's why I want you to choose a phrase or word that represents this new phase of your life. It could be mastery of the mind, action with purpose, or even, I won't stop at anything. Write it in the comments. Declare it. Mark this moment with intention, because each written statement is like a brick in the construction of your new mindset. I am here following every step of your journey. I read every comment, every reflection, and I will leave my little heart as a sign that you are being seen. You are no longer alone in this. This channel is an extension of your journey. It is a space where you find strength, clarity, and motivation to continue even on days when everything seems difficult. And if you want to walk together, learn more, Grow more, become more, like this video, and subscribe to the channel. This simple action is your commitment to change. And each time you come back here, you feed yourself with something that the outside world does not easily offer: direction, truth, and personal power. Let's keep going, because the journey is just beginning. Have you ever found yourself thinking that if you simply wake up earlier, work later, say yes more, and put up with what bothers you in silence, you'll finally achieve the success you dream of? Maybe you believe that the secret lies in putting more weight on your shoulder, in being more productive, busier, more active. And although effort is part of the process, it alone does not guarantee any result. Napoleon Hill was direct on this point. The mistake that prevents you from being truly unbeatable is trying to do before you are. And this is one of the biggest traps that imprisons brilliant minds in cycles of frustration and self-sabotage. You may have a full schedule, but still feel empty inside. You may be achieving all your external goals, but neglecting the most important construction of all: your mental identity. Because true success is not something that is achieved with blind sweat, but with clear intention. And this intention only arises when you align your thoughts, feelings, and actions with the image of who you want to become. Without this alignment, everything turns into tiredness, pressure, comparison, and a feeling of inadequacy. It's easy to fall into this cycle when everything around you reinforces the idea that you need to run all the time, that you need to show results, that you need to prove something. But Hill shows us that the secret lies in reversing this logic. First, you shape who you are inside through the conscious repetition of positive thoughts, the daily visualization of your goal, the nurturing of an abundance mindset. Then, you act like someone who is already successful. And then, yes, doing becomes a natural consequence of being. It's like changing the starting point of the journey. Instead of starting from empty in search of fulfillment, you start acting from an identity that is already full, determined, and convinced of what you came to seek. The big issue here is that you may be doing everything right when it comes to external rule, failing in your internal dialogue. And that's when everything falls apart. Your mind silently sabotages you. It tells you that you're not capable, that it's too late, that you weren't born for this. And you, without even realizing it, start acting on this belief. Every decision, every choice, every step begins to reflect this limited view you have of yourself. This explains why you may be trying so hard but making so little progress. The mistake is not in your hard work. The mistake is in continuing to try to achieve the extraordinary with a mindset programmed to survive, not to win. When you try to build a successful life with thoughts of scarcity, doubt, and fear, what you create is more frustration, more anxiety, more distance from what you really want. Because everything you build without a solid mental foundation collapses at the slightest sign of adversity. Napoleon Hill teaches that the mind is like a garden, and if you don't intentionally plant the right thoughts, mental weeds will automatically grow. These are the inner voices that you don't even realize are sapping your strength, your focus, your vision. You need to take control of this garden. You need to decide what you want to grow in it. You need to be selective about the thoughts you feed, the stories you tell yourself, the images you build in your mind every day. That's why changing what you do isn't enough. You have to change who you believe you are. You have to see yourself as disciplined before you can act with discipline. You have to see yourself as prosperous before you can attract prosperity. You have to believe you are a leader before you can lead anyone. This is the key to turning the corner. True transformation begins when you stop trying to achieve something and start becoming someone. Because when you become someone, the result is inevitable. It's a matter of time, consistency, and clarity. And I know this may feel uncomfortable at first because society values doing. It applauds those who seem to be always on the move. But Hill invites us to take a deeper journey. He challenges us to silence the external noise and listen to our own inner voice. Because that is the only voice that truly matters. It is the one that will guide your decision, your behaviors, your reaction. When you master that voice, you become unstoppable. Not because everything starts to go right, but because you learn to act intelligently, even when everything seems to be falling apart. This change in mindset is what separates those who try from those who succeed. It's what separates those who just dream from those who achieve. You don't need a perfect life to get started. You just need to decide that starting today, you're going to build your victory from the inside out. You're going to look in the mirror and see someone who's changing, someone who's no longer guided by fear, but by vision, someone who doesn't act on impulse, but on purpose, someone who doesn't seek validation, but direction. And if you've come this far, it's because something in you has already started to change. There's already a seed of awareness planted within you, of a desire for true change. So, right here in the comments, what this change represents for you. It could be a word like internal transformation, being before doing, or even new identity. Declare it. Not because you need to prove anything to anyone, but because your word has power. When you write, you fix it. When you declare, you start living. And remember, I am reading every comment, and I am here to walk with you on this journey of personal growth, leadership mindset, and life transformation. Every word you share here strengthens this community of people committed to their own success, and every like on the video, every subscription to the channel, every message left in the comments is another brick in this collective construction of strengthened mind and transformed destiny. Let's keep going, because the next step is even more powerful. Now that you have begun to realize that the mistake is not in how much you do, but in who you are while you do it, it is time to look within with a new perspective. The true secret to being unbeatable is not in the external world. It is within you, in the invisible structure that supports all your decisions, reactions, and attitude. And this structure is called mental identity. Napoleon Hill teaches us that all success begins with a dominant thought. A thought so strong, so constant, so nurtured that it begins to command your actions automatically. It is not a vague desire. It is an internal conviction. It is what you become. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to have a drive that moves them, no matter what the circumstances? Even in the face of obstacles, they keep going. Even in the face of criticism, persist. Even in the face of fatigue, they keep going. It's not luck, it's mental programming. They became what they wanted before any results appeared, and that's the key. You don't wait for success to behave like a successful person. You decide now to be that person, even if the results haven't appeared yet, because the mind believes what you feed it with the most intensity, and it works all the time to make that reality. The secret, then, is in being confident before you have the reason, being disciplined before you see the fruits, being persistent even when everything seems difficult. Because when you decide who you are going to be, everything you do begins to change naturally. You begin to make better choices. You begin to position yourself differently. You begin to move away from what weakens you and toward what strengthens you. It is a subtle but powerful change. And when you sustain this decision day after day, you begin to realize that nothing external has any more power over you. From the moment you internalize this new identity, fear begins to lose ground. Doubt begins to weaken. Discouragement ceases to be a sentence. You stop reacting to the world and start creating your world. Because when your identity is clear, you don't need approval. You don't need constant motivation. You don't need to chase everything. You attract. You create. You build with intention, with awareness, with alignment. This is what Hill calls self-mastery. It's when you become a master of yourself. And a master of oneself is, by definition, unstoppable. Most people are stuck in the opposite pattern. They try to change the external world in the hope that it will change the internal world. But the logic is reversed. The external world is just a mirror of what you carry inside. If your internal dialogue is about failure, insecurity, rushing, or comparing, everything around you will reflect that. But if your internal dialogue is about victory, clarity, persistence, and faith in yourself, you start to see the world through a different lens. And more importantly, the world starts to respond to you differently. Being unbeatable is not about being invincible. It's about knowing that no matter what happens, you will continue. It's about having the courage to get up every time you fall, with more strength, more focus, more wisdom. It's about building a safe place within yourself where you can always return to remember who you are. This inner security cannot be bought, borrowed, or learned overnight. It is cultivated with daily practices, with mental discipline, with conscious Choice of thoughts. With small but consistent decisions that reinforce the image of the person you have decided to be. This is where you begin to experience true freedom. The freedom to act without fear of judgment. The freedom to say no to what is not aligned with your purpose. The freedom to choose your thoughts instead of being controlled by them. This freedom comes when your being is empowered, when you no longer depend on circumstances to feel confident, fulfilled, or secure. You are all of these things before, and by being, you do, and by doing, you have. This order matters. Hill showed us that most people are always trying to reverse this cycle. First, they want to have the money, the position, the recognition. They believe that when they have it, they will start doing it, and then, maybe, they will become someone. But this path is illusory. It always demands more than it delivers. Because having without being is like carrying something you are not prepared to sustain. It is like placing the weight of success on a fragile mind. Sooner or later, this structure collapses, and the pain of frustration is even greater. You don't have to live in this illusion anymore. You can start reprogramming your mind for success right now. And that doesn't require anything more than a decision. A decision to stop trying to fit into what's expected of you and start aligning yourself with who you really want to be. It's a choice, choosing to nurture thoughts of power, clarity, and courage, choosing to act like someone committed to their own growth, choosing to move away from what weakens you, thoughts, people, habits, and toward everything that connects you with your best self. And this process doesn't have to be solitary. Here, on this channel, you are surrounded by people who, just like you, are looking for more focus, more awareness, more present, more results. And this environment, this energy, this shared mindset can drive you. But it all starts when you decide that you're going to be. No more waiting, no more negotiating your dream, no more adapting to what others expect, but instead, living according to your truth. If this content makes sense to you, if in some way you felt that these words were written for you, I would like to invite you to declare this in the comment. Write a sentence that represents this new choice. It could be something like, "Victory begins with me," or "I am before I do." Whatever makes sense to you, write it down, because this is more than an interaction. It is an act of affirmation. And as always, I will read each comment carefully, and I will leave my little heart as a sign that we are together on this journey. And if you haven't liked this video or subscribed to the channel yet, now is the time to do so. Because every time you connect with this type of content, you are strengthening your mindset, feeding your soul with purpose, and taking another step towards your personal transformation. Let's keep moving forward, because we still have a lot to build. And the next point on this journey could be the turning point you've been waiting for. Now that you understand the depth of being before doing, it's time to turn this understanding into daily practice. Because knowing is not enough. You have to apply it. Knowledge only has power when it is transformed into action. And action only becomes powerful when it is born from a clear purpose, fueled by a solid mindset. This is exactly where the formula that Napoleon Hill left as a legacy for all who wish to live with purpose, achieve true success, and become truly unbeatable comes in. It all starts with a decision that only you can make, clearly defining who you want to be. I'm not talking about external goals like making more money or getting promoted at work. I'm talking about essence, identity, an internal definition that guides all your choices. Who is the person you want to become? How do they think? How do they act? How do they react to adversity? This image needs to be real to you. It needs to be so vivid that when you close your eyes, you can see, feel, and hear this new version of yourself in action. It's from this definition that you begin to build your journey with intention. With this clarity of identity, the next step is to visualize your goal daily. And here's a crucial point. It's not just about repeating empty phrases. Visualization is not about repeating for the sake of repeating. It's about feeling, internalizing, and visualizing intensely. It's about creating a real emotional connection with what you want to achieve. When you dedicate a few minutes every day to visualize your goal as if it were already real, you are conditioning your mind for success. You are training your brain to identify opportunity, make better informed decisions, and act more confidently. But visualizing isn't enough. You have to act as if you've already achieved what you want. And that changes everything. Because when you act like someone who has already achieved what they want, you raise your standards. You don't accept just anything. You start saying no to what weakens you. You start assuming a position of leadership, of control, of dominance. You stop justifying yourself. You stop hiding. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You simply act, and you act with conviction. And it's not about pretending. It's about living as if your future is already here. Because that energy, that certainty, that courage, they create a magnetic field around you, and the world responds to it. This is where many people stumble. They even define who they want to be. They even visualize their goals. They even start to act with more intensity. But they lose their way at the first sign of criticism, rejection, or resistance. That's why the last part of the formula is to remain unshakable in the face of criticism. This requires mental strength, self-awareness, and, above all, a firm purpose. When you know why you're doing what you're doing, no other person's opinion can bring you down. Criticism only hurts when you're disconnected from your purpose. But when you're in tune with your truth, criticism becomes noise. And noise doesn't paralyze those who are committed to the sound of their own mission. You need to understand that resist is part of the process. Being questioned, being discredited, being misunderstood, all of this is part of the path of someone who is on a journey above average. Hill always said, if you are not being criticized, you may not be doing anything relevant. So, use criticism as fuel. Use judgment as an opportunity to further strengthen your conviction. Use each obstacle as training for your mind to become even more resilient. The formula works because it creates a virtuous cycle. When you define who you want to be, your mind begins to filter information based on that identity. When you visualize your goals every day, you begin to believe in them more strongly. When you act like a winner, your body, your posture, and your behavior begin to align with victory. And when you remain unshakable in the face of criticism, you become invincible on the inside. And this inner invincibility is what makes you unstoppable on the outside. But you need to be consistent. There's no point in applying this formula once a week or only when you feel motivated. This needs to become a lifestyle. It needs to become a habit. It needs to be part of your routine, as essential as breathing. Because only then will you consolidate this new mindset. And when that happens, nothing will stop you. You will walk with firmness, make decisions with more confidence, speak more clearly, and position yourself with more authority. Everything changes when your mind changes. Now, if you are truly committed to this transformation, I want to propose something to you. Write a sentence in the comments that represents this formula applying to your life. It could be something like, act like a winner, or mindset creates reality. Choose the one that resonates most with you. This is not just a symbolic gesture. It is a pact with yourself. It is you telling the universe and yourself that you are ready to live differently, that you are willing to think differently, feel differently, act differently, that you are committed to your personal evolution, to your inner leadership, and to developing a failure-proof mindset. And of course, if this content is helping you see more clearly, if it's making you think, if it's lighting that inner flame that you've been feeling but didn't know how to feed, like this video. And if you're not yet part of the channel, subscribe now. Every new piece of content here is created with intention, with purpose, with total focus on helping you become the best version of yourself. This journey is just beginning, and the next step we take together could be the one that will definitely unlock your potential. Let's keep going. You've come this far because some part of you already knew you needed to hear this message. Not by chance. Nothing that is true happens by chance. You're not watching this video just to get inspired for a few minutes and then go back to the same routine with the same thoughts, the same habit, the same excuse. You're here because something inside you wants more. You want real transformation. You want different results. You want to live with purpose, with direction, with mastery. And this change doesn't happen outside. It starts right now, inside you. You already have everything you need. You don't need a new miracle technique. You don't need to wait for next Monday, the new year, the next course. You don't need more approval, more time, more perfection. What you really need is to align your mind with your destiny. It's to look within and take control. It's to stop outsourcing your choices. Stop blaming the world. Stop waiting for someone to come and save you. No one is going to do it for you. But the good news is you can. And when you firmly decide that you're going to take control, the entire universe starts to respond. Being unbeatable is not about arrogance. It's about awareness. It's knowing that circumstances don't define who you are. It's being clear that your worth doesn't depend on your past, your failures, or anyone else's opinion. It's having the strength to get up every time you fall. It's having the discipline to keep going, even when no one is watching. It's having the vision to see beyond the pain. It's having the courage to start over as many times as necessary. That's being unbeatable. And it starts now with one step, a simple but powerful step, the decision to start. This moment you are living now is a turning point, because from now on, you can continue living as you always have, reacting in the same way, waiting for the ideal, or you can decide that today is the beginning of a new story. Not a perfect story, without mistakes or setbacks, but a real story. A journey in which you commit to your own growth. A journey where your evolution stops being a pretty idea and becomes a lifestyle. Will you fall? Yes, but you will get up stronger. Will you be afraid? Yes, but you will act even though you are afraid. Will you face doubts? Yes. But now you know that you can choose the thoughts you cultivate, the emotions you feed, and the attitudes you repeat. And your first action can be right now. I want to propose something that seems simple but has a powerful effect. Comment below, what is the first action you will take today to become unbeatable? It could be something small, like waking up earlier tomorrow, resuming a habit you abandoned, writing down your goals clearly, turning off distractions for an hour, and focusing on what really mattered. Or it could be something deeper, deciding to forgive someone, leaving a fear behind, cutting off what weakens you. Choose an action. Write it down. Declare it. This is the first step to leaving the realm of intention and entering the realm of achievement. You can use phrases like, "Today my journey begins," or "action with purpose." Choose one that conveys your moment. Writing here in the comment is not just a formality. It is a commitment to yourself. And I will be attentive to each comment. I will read them all. And I will leave my little heart as a sign that I saw you, that I recognize you, that I am with you. Because here, in this space, each word has value. Each step counts. Each decision has weight. And if this video touched you in any way, if it made sense, if it awakened you, like it now. Don't put it off. This strengthens this message and allows it to reach other people who, like you, are ready to make a change. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe now, not only to keep up with the upcoming content, but to be in an environment that feeds you with direction, a growth mindset, self-discipline, and strategies for real success. This journey is yours, but you are not alone. We are together, and the next step is yours. So take a deep breath, look inside, and choose to act. Because you already have everything inside you, now it's time to let it out, to live, to transform. Let's keep going, because the journey is just beginning. If you've made it this far, it's because something inside you has awakened. You've felt that your mindset has expanded, that your thinking has evolved, that you now have more clarity about who you want to be and what you need to do. And if this video really motivated, if it gave you strength, direction, or even that spark that was missing, then you need to continue this journey with us. Subscribe to the channel now so you don't miss out on future content. Each new video here is designed to reinforce this new version of you that is emerging. And if you made it to the end, comment below, "My mind is made up." This phrase is a sign that you are committed to yourself, to your transformation, to your growth. Write it down, and I will notice you in the comment. Oh, and don't forget to leave a like. This shows that the content made a difference to you and helps spread this message to those who also need to hear it. And now, before you leave, click on the next video that is appearing on the screen. It is the continuation of your journey, because those who decide to grow don't stop. Let's go together. Your next level starts now.